I didn't want you to open this one.
How are you? Monday morning.
Monday paradise.
Yeah. Still Monday.
Very little.
How are you?
Very little.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Save your life. They keep you from getting
I'll be
over.
seen right before they hit me. If they hit me, they're gonna know it.
Paranoid.
Let them know.
Yeah.
He is, okay, so he is in Haven, and they were supposed to start last week, but they didn't. And they're gonna start this week, but they're gonna have 2 weeks online while they quarantine everybody. And then they hope to go back into person. But it's just,
Stacy's got COVID.
what they have done
Is
is
he gonna be
they
here
have
by
said, everybody
telephone
who
or
can stay
what?
home, stay
Is that
home.
what they said?
I didn't
He
be.
has no, he doesn't have the ability to stay home. Hey, how you doing? How are you? Good.
Okay.
So he's going into the office, but he's basically, most of the traders are going in the office, but.
There you
Morning, Lynn.
Hey,
How are you doing?
good. Hey, did
Stacy
you
got
get
COVID?
inspired by that
Sorry?
video? I
Stacy
mean,
got COVID?
that was a real
Yeah.
band.
That was impressive.
I had it.
That's creativity.
I think
so.
I kind of, I need you
Wasp
in the
smell
back.
This year I had, I got, who wants to play box music?
It's really.
Yeah. What was this? Calvin.
Calvin.
We need him, Calvin.
He's got medication.
I've got, you know, I've got one guy that's got it right now, and all he had was a little bit of time change.
Yeah, that's all that is. Bad.
Yeah.
We bought all your tickets though. Did you see that?
I did. That's awesome. Thank you for the sellout.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got it.
We need it.
Happy to help.
I do. Yeah.
That's my area.
Has Jimmy lived?
Or defense.
I think he is, I think he is the head coach of the defense. I think that's,
The head coach here.
I'm not sure what I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still scratching my head about the whole thing. Yeah. But he was in full performance, it was pretty.
Didn't have any minutes.
Longhorn best or something.
He lied because he came to my office.
Well,
Tammy.
a
Did
lot
you
of
make
us
copies
is
of
people,
minutes?
but
I know that, I know that. That's why I said that first. I know
What'd
that.
you say?
I've always favored
Scan to them. Oh, you have to scan.
Yeah.
And that was me.
You know that.
I didn't get it. You do it right?
I didn't even get this until late Friday. I didn't get it.
Y'all didn't see anything that looked crazy.
Yeah.
My wife's car.
She said she didn't scan it in.
Yeah, I didn't have a packet either, Jimmy. I got an admitted supplement.
Well, you're gonna have 4 minutes to look at.
I'm good.
What it says. Admitted supplement.
Come on in. My favorite wrestler of all time, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I put my name out there to try to see if I could get invited to either guest, and So far, nobody has taken it up and beat up on it, but I am hopeful that I can get it. No, never was back off on policy. No.
That's our goal, that's looking across it.
Are you ready for your big speaking engagement? And then you jumped out of the last room. Yeah, or are you gonna send Rick anyway?
Yeah.
Stacy's out?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Wow. Yeah. So what's going on, brother?
You want to sit here?
No, I think I'll sit over here. It looks scary up there.
It is scary. This was the scariest seat in the house.
I think I
Oh, good, how are you?
Good.
Brandon won't even sit up here, it's so scary.
You in charge?
No, sir, I'm just making sure that you're behaving. I'm here to watch you,
I'll be in the back corner.
Jimmy, did you get it all right?
What is it?
Oh,
Just a little bit.
So far, so good, right?
Yeah. Doing all right?
like a hairstyle.
Appreciate it.
Are you
It's the
gonna
last
work
day
your pay this week or just today? Today and Wednesday.
Well, you can always go tomorrow.
Well, that's the
other-
that's the other thought. I gotta take advantage while I got it.
I'll have to recuperate.
I'd love to have it.
This seat's open, nobody wants to sit up here by me.
If I could do it, I would grow. See, I can grow.
Do
I'm
it.
good.
Good.
Somebody sit
Right.
there.
Somebody will sit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't heard that. That's funny.
I don't want to start.
That's too good. Yeah, that's funny. I haven't heard that one before.
Morning, Matt. How are you? You had a good weekend? Yes, sir.
Good.
That's good.
Oh, that's
It's good. It's very,
Right, tomorrow,
very
the
low
next
key.
day.
I like that.
Oh, no, that's fine. I just don't like it when they're not here till Wednesday.
Right, and they're supposed to be here by Tuesday.
No, it's supposed to be here Monday.
Multiply. I guess at Christmas time, kinda, you don't wanna set up here long.
It is crazy. No, we don't get the kids, our kids, and they
Well, yeah. Yeah. No, well, we got I didn't either.
That's Toby first.
She said it's good.
I went ahead and gave them their quarter this morning.
Best thing.
Okay. Somebody said something about that. Don't call me. Somebody's moved on it a lot.
Well, it sat out in the truck, so we got, but I thought of it.
We got one now,
So,
that's
yeah.
good.
Time sheet they needed. Yeah.
If they need something, they put them together, cheap sheet, let me know.
That'd be great. I'd like to meet you. So you, most of the other people just. The more I look at it. Yeah. I don't mind doing it. I just was looking how kids gonna be fill out.
I don't have power of attorney, but they'll sign it, they're all on board. You go ahead and send me this before you do the vote.
There's gonna be a sort of at some point, a true crime.
Neither did Carol, nobody knows. I said this for a good shooter in here,
Yeah.
it'll be the last to see them go to the ground, yeah. It's just a little harder to park again. He does. Do what?
I think everybody's got that.
I don't.
I'm standing way over here.
I don't.
Steve,
Should move over here.
I went down to Draper to make breakfast yesterday, and we drove around the lake, so obviously
We're blowing up, I hear.
Young County Commissioners Court come to order. Sitting in a regular meeting, this is Monday, January the 24th, 2022, at 9:35 a.m. We might note that this meeting was posted in the manner and for the time required, and that we have one member of the court, Stacey Cresswell, that has come under the COVID presence, I guess you could say, as of this morning with a positive test. So he is not with us presently. He has called and wished to attend the meeting by some kind of virtual attendance. And so I'm expecting this phone call here in a little bit, of which he can attend over the telephone. Might note that we are feeding live to YouTube. That our call-in number is 940-221-2107. I believe that's correct. For anyone that wishes to call in to make a comment on anything that we might have on the agenda today. With that said, if it's convenient, please stand. We'll ask you to approve it, and our invocation and our pledges.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we so thank you for this day. We thank you for everything that you have done for us and bringing all these people together. We ask that you fight this disease that we have in our world right now and help us overcome it. We ask that you be with our first responders, our military that's overseas. We ask that you lay hands on them and bless them and be with them all the time. We ask, dear Lord, that you give us the right thoughts that we need for us four commissioners up here. We ask that you be with Commissioner Cresswell as he has suffered from the COVID virus. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Item number 3 is public comments, presentations, announcements. These are no action items. Begin with COVID update. This is my latest from James Mail here with the Real Regional Medical Center. it would have been, it would have been as of Friday, the 21st, I believe that would, that might have been Thursday. It came to my email Friday, the 22nd, I believe, of January. There have been 22,128 tests by our medical teams here in Young County. 17,072 of those tests were negative, 5,046 were positive, and there were 10 pending at that time. Our total active positives that they have tested are 567, and 435 of those active positive tests are our Young County residents. There's 563 confined at home. There's 4 in Graham Regional Medical Center. We've had 4,403 recoveries, and to date, there have been 76 deaths due to COVID or complications related to COVID. In your packet, there's also a activity report from our tax assessment collector that would be on the December activities. That we began to put a report together last calendar year, and began to present us with that report. And it shows, looks to me like $352,447 worth of activity went through that office in the month of December. No, that was 20. The 21 numbers are 372, 842, 10. So a little bit better than the previous year. And we thank Christy for that report. It's interesting to look at those figures. Also, in our packet, there is County and District Clerks Association of Texas Certificate of Completion Award for continuing education for the 2021 calendar year. And that was presented to Kay Harden, our Young County Clerk. We have Shirley Cho, former clerk, sitting in for us today because Kay is out attending another education program. Is there anything else that anyone would like to?
Marcia has something that we received, I think, on Friday.
We have earned the Safety Achievement Award from PAC.
Yeah,
So,
very good. We'll put that in the file. We're going to put it out as a press release.
yes.
Okay. I need to deliver that to you. That's the County Safety Award under the loss program, I believe, that we have, and Young County been having a pretty good record on that. So we won, or our HR department actually has won another award for our participation in many different activities.
Everybody's being safe and being careful, no lost time, and workers' comp claims are way down, so.
Anything else? Any commissioners may want sitting out here in attendance? Not, we'll move on to item number 4. Consider county clerk's minutes from previous meeting, that would be January the 10th and January the 18th respectively. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made?
Item number 10, Chief Blackstock, should be Chief Babcock, or Sheriff Babcock should be, so the chief should be Sheriff Babcock.
Now, state that one more time.
Item number 10, should say Sheriff Babcock, so the Chief Blackstock.
And they're all messed up.
And
It goes 8, 10, 9.
It shouldn't say Chief Babcock, it should be Sheriff Babcock.
Sounds like out of order too. 8, 9, or 8.
9 should be worded wrong.
I think that's the way she does it when we move around.
I like it, what you're saying. Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, we'll make note to our clerk about that.
Other than that, so moved on both counts.
A motion by Commissioner Wiley and a second by Commissioner Rogers to file as corrected or adopt as corrected the minutes presented. All in favor? 4-0. Item number 5, consider treasurer's financial report and updates on securities pledge.
I don't have any reports, but we do have the security.
Yeah, we had a security pledge of $3,350,000, 60 cents, so
All in favor of filing forward the financial report from the treasurer on updates of security pledges. All in favor? 4-0. Item number 5. That was item number. We have under that a reimbursement for audible voting machines that we have got word this last week that those monies had arrived.
Well, they were released, I haven't checked to see if they were deposited yet, but I think they should be in there today.
Yeah, it's in the amount of $243,549 that will reimburse us for the expense of converting our fairly new Verity system to a ballot audible system as mandated by the legislature.
good old American.
And that's nothing that necessarily needs to be acted on. I had to make an application for that, and I requested, we were eligible for more money than that, so I requested the more money, but I got a little note from them, said, no, we just reimburse actual costs, so I'm glad to get that back. Okay, item number 6 is consider auditor's budget amendments and vouchers payable.
Always have vouchers. The total today is $153,246.49, and out of the general is $83,078.41. And there is no Don's butanes.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Rogers. To approve vouchers payable. All in favor? 4-0. Underneath there, we have the to discuss and consider the Texas Association of Counties 2022 Annual County Membership Dues in the amount of $955. It's a budgeted item.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pruitt, second by Mr. Rogers, is that right?
Yes.
To approve the invoice payment of $955 for membership in the Texas Association of Counties. All in favor? 4-0. Item number 7 is discuss and consider joint primary contract between Young County for our voting equipment. Caitlin Mosley is the election administrator, and for the Young County Democrat and Republican parties.
So here I have the resolution that you all signed for the March 1st primary election and the May 24th runoff election as we have it. I brought with me the Democrat contract and the Republican where they all signed off on it, if y'all both looked at it. You're good?
That resolution has a long date on
This is the one that I signed.
It
March
should be
1st.
first.
it. So that's not what's in that paper.
It is first.
Be better, yeah, let's say. If that's right.
I believe it's the first.
Yeah, March 1st and then May
This one
24th.
in our packets today.
Yeah, we picked up that change after it already gone out, but it is first.
You make me a copy after it's signed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Elections administrators authorized the contract on to operate elections of another entity, but Commissioners Court owns Young County owned equipment, so we have to enter into that with our elections administrator to utilize the equipment that citizens of the county own.
Thank you for having
Item number 8, let's see. Who was that?
We have a motion. Last, on this one.
That was Pruitt made the motion.
Okay.
Is that right?
Sure.
Roger? All in favor? Item number 8, discuss, consider adjustments to political boundaries and rescinding the combining of voting precincts 6 and 7. This came to our attention when our election administrator and our addressing coordinator was having difficulty of making the association. We reviewed that, and we had some census blocks that were split, and we can't split census blocks, so we had to go back and adjust those lines slightly to cure that. And also, there was JP1 was slightly out of the district, so that was also adjusted in that to make things right. We combined voting precinct 6 and 7 and voting precinct 16 and 23, 4, 16 and 20 and 16. 20 and 16 weren't affected. It didn't affect them, those two, but when we combined 7 into 6, then that would cause voting precinct 6 to have to be split between 2 JPs. which is impractical and maybe not authorized at all, but those census blocks, so we need to rescind that part of that order and adopt these modified maps that all commissioners have there. See, you got a hundred. Excuse me.
Who come up with this conclusion?
John Redding.
Question is why didn't we get together when we found out there's a problem, and work on it together?
The order that we passed gave our attorneys, the ones that we had hired, gave them the authority to adjust those according to what was needed, as does this one.
That's still don't seem right.
Well, I don't, it doesn't matter if it seems right or not right,
Because it's
it's
affected,
what we gave them authority to do.
it's going to be affected, how we was affected in the situation and the decision was made.
You want to vote yes?
I'm gonna vote no.
Okay.
Until we can get a chance to look at it and figure out what's going on.
As you fellows, the rest of you, have you looked at this?
I have looked at it, and I know that JP1 has lost 150 votes out of it.
And
I don't-
The number of votes in JP precincts are irrelevant. They're not under one vote, one man, one vote.
I lost 40.
Excuse me?
I lost 40.
Okay. Are we in compliance?
I have no idea, I haven't seen no number.
Look at it.
There's
They're
no
right there
numbers
in front
on
of
there,
you.
there's no numbers on there, John.
There is on the one I sent to you
No, there's
this
not.
morning.
No, there's not.
There's no numbers on it.
I go back to what I said, we should sit down and work on it together. That lawyer has no effect on him and what's going on, he don't have idea what's going on between any of us. We worked on the census together, we need to continue working. It's not about what one person's making a decision, it affects us for 10 years.
I think we should table it. Do it.
Needs to be done right. There's no reason
Throw it to
why
the end
one
of
person
the,
needs to be
throw it to the end of the
making a decision for all
agenda.
four of us.
Throw it to the end of the agenda, we'll work on it after. We'll get through our agenda for that. You good with that? Okay.
But that's not gonna happen the way it is, I say.
Get that fella on the phone, Reddington on the phone.
Did Stacy Crest
We'll pay them
basically?
after moment.
They're trying to get over it.
Right.
Good one. He's trying to call him. Call yours, FaceTime.
You got a copy of that? You know, this house split in. Collins are starting to make
Jimmy.
Am I allowed to comment on this?
So,
Huh?
We'd
we
like that.
ain't gonna let one person decide.
And we'd like you to help too.
Okay.
Caitlin.
Oh, okay.
She's like, oh.
I mean, that's not right.
Should've looked up.
Y'all be sweet to her.
I'll wait till the judge is in, but I have a comment about this.
That is to the land.
sad thing is, we're right here on the wire on this thing.
That's the problem.
And we're gonna have to figure it out today,
That's what I was saying.
the right way.
That's right. We're gonna throw it to the, take care of what's on the agenda right now, throw this to the end, and let's fix it at the end of
Let's
this.
do that.
Because all these people here, this is gonna take a while.
It is.
We got people here that's waiting for things on this. I don't wanna say 3 hours working on this.
Judge, may I comment on the issue? Commissioners, the problem came when we tried to get our ballots, and you cannot split a voting precinct the way y'all had the JP lines drawn. And so now we're at the point of needing to mail out ballots very quickly. In fact, it's fortunate that we didn't have some that had to already be mailed out.
We approved that on the recommendation of our EA last time.
Well,
I understand, it was brought up at the time of changing the map to JP one, we did that. It was inadvertent when.
right. But anyway, I'm just saying that's correct. You know, I was just made aware of it recently because I was involved in getting the ballots approved for the Republican Party.
The JPs are not under the one man, one vote rule. They're not considered as representative members of judicial officers. Commissioner's Court is under the representative rule, one man, one vote, and has a 10% compliance necessity, which all 4 precincts are of absolute deviation, something like 5.2%. We gave the attorney the authorization to adjust those things according to their needs when we passed the previous order. And that's also in this order.
We won't sit down and this is over with, and we won't talk to them tomorrow.
I have, and I mean, I think this is gonna probably take a little bit. So I asked that we just move this to the end of the agenda, take care of what we got on the agenda right now, just to spare these people the time to sit here forever while we talk about this. So we can do that.
Judge Stacy's on.
Stacy's right here. He's right there.
Excuse me?
He's right there.
You tried to call your phone.
He's right there.
Well, we can hear you, Stacy. I don't know that you can act in that fashion, but maybe if everybody else can hear you.
But can you hear me at all? Can you hear me, Matt?
Yes, sir.
We lost his picture. Is he there now?
I might have got cut off.
You're back.
You back now?
Okay. So was Matt fixing to say something or not?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I just said that I asked if we just move this to the end of the agenda and take care of it when we get there and move on with what we got right now.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, explain to the court just what happened. Would please?
That microphone.
Yes, sir. Well, the first issue was that, the elections administrator, former, Ms. Sullivan, thought it was a good idea to combine, election precincts 6 and 7. And, I didn't see any problem with it, and, then when our mapper did your JP maps, he didn't catch the problem, but just the problem with that consolidation was that your JP line, your traditional JP line, followed that, border between 6 and 7, which is not the same border as your commissioner precincts over there. So in order to keep your JP line somewhat the same, we had to reinstate number 7. I don't know if you can kind of tell what I'm talking about on the maps there, but you can see if you look at your JP map that on the western edge of the county, the line runs along the border between 6 and 7. It departs from the commissioner precinct line and goes along that election precinct line, which is fine. Otherwise, we would have had to move the JP line pretty substantially, which it was my understanding y'all didn't want to do.
Who made that choice not wanting to move the JP line, John?
I'm sorry?
Who made the choice not to want to move the JP line?
The collective body that was talking, including John Reddington on the telephone. We didn't.
Well, we didn't talk a lot about your JP lines, but I just assumed that you wanted to keep them the same. I think we had talked about if you wanted to, at our redistricting meetings, I think we had discussed, if y'all wanted to reduce any JPs or change up your JP precincts at all. And it was relayed to me that you didn't want to, y'all didn't want to change up your JP lines, basically, any more than you had to, just to, keep with the redistricting of the commissioner boundaries. So, that was my assumption, is that the court wanted to keep those lines the same. I just failed to recognize that consolidating those 2 election precincts was going to foul that up.
You could take and adjust that JP line and still would do away with that. Correct?
That's correct. You could stay with the consolidation, and your JP line would need to move up to that northern boundary of the new combined 6 and 7.
And everything would work itself out that way.
I mean, that would work. I think what typically, most counties don't like to do that because it's just confusing for your writing tickets and such, who goes to which court. But your deputies and whoever would be, forever thinking they're still in 1 when they were really in 4, or however y'all have a number.
But it wouldn't take, all it would take though was some effort to communicate between these people, and a little deal sent out, a bulletin or what, to let them know where the line is or show them where the line is.
I mean, it can certainly be done. It's just been, this year's our first time with redistricting, but no counties have wanted to change their JP lines if they could avoid it. So, if y'all don't want to, we can certainly look at another scenario. That's just kind of how I figured you would want to do it.
I want to make the fewest changes that are
Possible.
Did you make any changes at all on the JP line? On this map?
Did we make any changes at all?
Yes, sir.
Well, we had to change, the second change that is in the proposed order today is in the northeast boundary. Let's see if I can get it up here in front of me. The northeast line, it looked like we had inadvertently drawn one of the candidates for JP out of his precinct. So we had to switch about 3 census blocks with, not much population in them. We had to shift that line back up. We had shifted it south. We had to shift it back up to Monument Road. I think the judge probably pointed that out. I don't know if we discussed that yet with y'all.
So as a court, can we sit down and look this over and get some ideas on how we can arrange it to where it best fits the courts?
Yes, sir, we just need to do it quickly because your election folks, are trying to, we gotta get this, we're way late.
But here's the thing though, John, what we do now is gonna be here for the next 10 years.
Correct.
So we need to do it to the best of our ability.
Well, yes, sir, I agree. It's just, we're gonna do the best we can under the time constraints as well.
If we didn't leave this council on there, we should have hired them.
You can consolidate election precincts later. That does not have to be done during redistricting, but best to do it during redistricting.
Are you gonna be around here in a little while so that we get done with our main agenda? We can get back with you and maybe do a virtual or something and get something figured out?
I'll be on standby, yes, sir.
Okay. I appreciate it, sir.
Yes. Judge, you want me to wait for y'all to call back?
We don't want to deal with it right now. We'll have to deal with it later. I'll get back with you.
I'll be ready.
You're gonna be in the office all day today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, we'll put this on table.
Was that a motion, Commissioner Pruitt?
I think it's just a suggestion, we're just moving to the end of the agenda.
Item number 9 is discuss and consider a request for a CFR, that's a Corona Relief Fund Act funding for an ambulance, Olney Hospital, and Grand Regional Hospital. We've got Mike Huff here with us, and we've got Shane Purnell with us. Please come forward and make that request.
Judge, Commissioner, thank you very much for the opportunity. I heard your COVID numbers early on, and there's no doubt we're seeing a spike, have been for the last 2 years. Most interesting in our EMS, not only are the numbers up year over year, but we're having to transport people more frequently and further away because the Dallas-Fort Worth hospitals are full. And we have basically look all over the country to find a place to take a critical patient. One of our ambulances is pushing 200,000 miles, the engine's about to crater, and we really do need another ambulance. And so my ask today is $250,000, that hopefully will buy one in today's market to replace this old ambulance. Shane?
Yes, sir. Our very similar numbers to us as well. We're seeing about 7% increase year over year in our ambulance calls since 2020 due to COVID. Transports are the same story. We're having to go further to get people out of here. This is the nature of the business right now. Our fleet right now, we need a remount. That's already been taken to our board and approved in November. Previous to that, in August and again in October, we sent a letter to the court requesting funding, and that's why we're here today. Our ask is similar, $250,000. The remount will be about $155,000, but also with that, the board approved a COT system for all 3 trucks to be consistent, and that was an additional $130,000. So really, $285,000 is what the hospital district would be out for that. We're requesting $250,000 to be similar to what all.
And I would remind you that we help each other. If Shane's crews are out and there's a call, we cover, and conversely, if our crews are out, we call them. So this really is for Young County, not specifically for Almy or Graham. We basically have the opportunity to cover the county. So we're trying to take care of the residents of Young County.
And you're talking about the COVID relief fund is where you want this to come from?
All the funds.
That we got, right, COVID relief fund. And another thing is, let's say that we do approve this, how long will it take y'all to get it? Because I know like right now,
That's a great question. The reason we pushed it to the November board meeting to get it approved was because of that time. We're looking at fall of 2022 for the.
I would concur with that. It's a different world right now.
it is.
We received about $1.7 million. We have not utilized any of it current time. We haven't really decided where we want to go or what we can utilize that on. This is probably a healthy expense, I would think. But we've kind of been advised not to look forward to the second
I understand.
of that 1.7, which we're due to receive in May, or sometime thereabout, if at all. So, you know, if the questions out there, we don't know whether it's going to come or whether it's not. You know, I think that's a quite reasonable request.
I appreciate that. I know our patients and Young County residents will benefit from that.
Absolutely. Our medical community has done a good job
Thank you.
looking after us, doing the best that they can do with the resources they have.
Cheryl, we've been to several meetings, and I've heard of several other counties talking about doing the very same thing that we're talking about here, doing helping out with the ambulance service. Which I don't, that's code related,
Absolutely.
and that's what it's about, that's what that's funding for. And for me, I don't see a problem with it myself.
I'll make that motion that we out of our covered relief funds, that we extend our money towards 2 ambulances, 1 for Graham and 1 for Almy.
How much was for Graham?
250.
250 for each.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of our responsibility to take care of some of this ambulance expense.
We appreciate it.
Wheels of government move pretty slow. Y'all have requested in earlier, about 6 months ago, and we haven't acted on it yet. Kind of scale back on this, probably.
Well, on behalf of our hospital and board, we certainly appreciate your support.
Well, we appreciate you guys again. Y'all done a lot. Appreciate it. That's what this is for, this fund.
A motion, Commissioner Pruitt, second by Commissioner Rogers.
I had a question about that. He said for a total of $285.
$250,000 each.
They
Right.
requested
All
250.
they're doing is putting the same amount.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, I just
Shake, we
wanted to
don't
clarify
Maybe it was 255, I don't know.
that. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you can.
He said aye.
Make note that Commissioner Crestwell is continuing the meeting virtually on FaceTime, I suppose, was that.
I'm thinking.
Item number 10 is to discuss, consider permission to dump dirt from Cody Gill, Lacey Crestwell.
That's on, Roger Ranch Road where we dig a ditch. They let us dump the dirt on their, drive area where they're building their driveway. We dumped it, though I could spread it and do everything else, so. But it was a way to dispose of the dirt.
I'll second that. It's a motion, right, Commissioner Crestwell?
Yes. I think it blacked out when I said make the motion.
Oh, okay. It did or you did?
It did.
The permission slip says, I, Cody Gill, give permission to the Young County Commission Precinct 1, permission to dump dirt from bar ditch on my property where Kramer Construction instructs them to dump. Once Kramer Construction has proper amount of dirt for what they need to complete their work, Young County will have to dump somewhere else. Motion by Stacy Crestwell, second by Matt Pruitt. All in favor?
Yeah.
I guess the motion carries. Item number 11 is discuss, consider application and permit to install entry culvert in county road right-of-way ditch line for Rosser Ranch Road, Precinct 1.
And the Robert Register is putting in a culvert there right down from where Rosser and, intersects with, Overton. And, 12-inch culvert, 60-foot long. But it doesn't have a lower watershed there. I make the motion to go ahead and approve this permit.
I'll second.
Is that going to be county installed or contractor installed?
They'll install it themselves.
Who got a second on that?
I did.
All in favor? Item number 12, discuss and consider application permit to install a pipeline or utility in the county right-of-way for Fort Belknap Water Supply Corporation for Black Hawk Road in Precinct 1.
I got with Bear on that. It's just a dirt road area there. It's not a problem for them. They're gonna put it, well, it has a description there on the packet. Going off. He's already got everything lined up to do it, so I go ahead and make the motion to approve this too.
Cut to the board.
Like that.
Excuse me?
It's a road cut.
Cut.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Crestwell, second by Commissioner Wiley to approve the Fort Belknap water crossing on Black Hawk Road. All in favor? Carried. Discuss and consider request for seal bids for sale of 120 M2 motor grader, Lacey Rogers, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Yeah, you got a send that bid request to get some bidders, what it's worth. Cheryl's typed up an ad with, in the ad will state, be in her office, bids to be in her office February 11th at 4 p.m. and then open February 14th at 10 a.m.
You get rid of gun deals too.
No, we'll just send out and request bids. We've got several equipment companies that bid on it. We'll mail it out to them and run it in the newspaper for the allotted time too.
Get it in about 3 weeks to get in there. Get some pictures already.
And start taking pictures.
Yes, he sent me pictures.
2018, 120. How many hours you got on it?
1350.
18, 13. All in favor?
Who seconded that, I'm sorry?
Excuse me?
Who seconded that motion?
I did.
All right, thank you. Cheryl, when is that gonna be published for the first time?
Okay, so,
Probably be this coming Saturday, because I don't have time to get it Wednesday.
right up now,
I'll run it 2 different weeks.
be delivered, no later than February the 11th, 2022, by 4 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And to be open February the 14th, 10 a.m. Is that correct?
That's correct.
We all voted for it? Item number 15 is a review tax abatement application. I'm pretty sure y'all have that on your,
Yeah, do 14.
excuse me? 14. Excuse me. Item 14, discuss and consider operation of ATVs in unincorporated areas of the county. Jimmy Wiley.
I had some people, or I had a person that wanted to see if we can get this passed, so it would be legal. A lot of them are already doing this, and that House Bill 1586 gives some explanation of why and how that it comes about. Through the statute, it says that if you're a utility company, you don't have to have nothing but a flag and an orange flag that's going back to your ATV while you're going up and down the road, whether it's the highway or bar ditch or whatever. If you're in an unincorporated area, you have the opportunity to go and get a vehicle license plate from tax assessor collector, and they can't charge no more than $10 for it. And you have to be a licensed driver in order to operate that out there. So if you're in the Timber Ridge area and you want to go down and you see your friend down there at his party or something, or just go borrow something from him, you can get on the ATV, drive over and do it, come back, it's legal. No problem. A lot of people are already doing that, but if we can do it where it's legal, something does happen, then it's a better situation for everybody. So that's what we're looking to do. It's not it's an order. It's not going to be it does for the county.
Well, that statute and that bill is not real clear on that. $551.8.15, 0.55, operation authorized in certain areas. Looks like what you're requesting to do is an operator may operate an unregistered off-highway vehicle in a master planned community that has in place a uniform set of restrictive covenants and for which the county or municipality has a plat, or on a highway for which the posted speed limit has not more than 35 miles per hour. if the off-highway vehicle is operated during the daytime and not more than 2 miles from the location where the off-highway vehicle is usually parked for transportation to or from a golf course. There's also a qualifier in that, it's a little bit confusing.
Commissioner Wiley, besides the license plate, do you need turn signals? Horns?
In this
Or
order,
mirrors?
it talks about turn signals, it talks about having
Headlights.
headlights and brake lights.
And it talks about you must go
Yeah.
undergo an ATV safety course also.
Yeah.
Okay, 551A.053, operation on highway authorized by municipality or certain counties. In addition to an operation authorized by 551A.055, the governing body of the municipality may allow an operator to operate an unregistered off-highway vehicle on all or part of the highway that is in the corporate boundaries of the municipality and a posted speed limit of not more than 35 miles an hour. In addition to the operation authorized by 551A.055, the Commissioners Court of the County described by Section C may allow an operator to operate an unregistered off-highway vehicle on all or part of the highway that is located in an unincorporated area of the county and has a posted speed limit of not more than 35 miles per hour. C, subsection B applies only to counties that borders or contains a portion of the Red River, borders or contains a portion of the Guadalupe River, and contains part of the barrier islands that borders the Gulf of Mexico, or is adjacent to the county described by subdivision 2 and has a population of less than 37,000, contains part of the barrier island or peninsula that borders the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. So do these places, platted, and does it have a master plan community? A uniform set of restrictive covenants, or which county or municipality has approved the plat?
That's only an HOA area that you're talking about there. If you're in an HOA, then they have their own set of rules. But if you're in an unincorporated area, like Loving or Enid or someplace like that, it's not that, you can go in those areas, no problem. You don't have to have a plat for that, you don't have to have anything unless, the only thing you gotta have in that deal is the requirements it says for that ATV and UTV, and speed limit needs to be posted at least no more than 35 miles an hour.
What's your motion?
I'll make a motion, we give an order that if we pass it, they can do an ATV or operated in an unincorporated area of Young County. If everything is done properly, a licensed driver and goes by the rules that set forth in the bill.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
Mr. Ward?
I believe there's a farm use, part of that also. You don't have to have this part of it. For the farm use, you just have to have the slow moving triangle and the flag.
That's right. Somewhere triangle flag.
Agricultural uses same as the utility use.
Right.
This is on the county, by county basis, it's not statewide.
Each county has a choice to adopt it.
Well, it's a little unclear, just exactly.
So are you going to present an order to that effect? Or,
That's what we'll have to do.
What do you think of it, Mr. Ward?
I have not discussed any of that with the sheriff, so I don't have a.
You don't have an opinion?
No.
Bottom line, everyone does it anyways.
Well,
Yeah.
they're already doing it, so why not make it legal for them to do it?
I think it's just a way to generate some revenue, $10 less, what this is about.
I'd like to see a little clarification of what, no, a little more legal advice, I guess, whether we're eligible or not eligible to do those things.
So if you wanted to go pick up your mail and your
We're all
ATV down the end of the road, you're not gonna get a ticket to go get your mail.
Or your golf cart?
Yeah.
Or your golf cart. And you see your golf cart, if you're in the country club area, like out here, that's a different set of rules than what it is if you're in an unincorporated area. You can ride a golf cart without any all that stuff up there all you want to. No problem. It's a different scenario. Set of rules.
Yeah, I'd like to see the old guy, store up
It's still
I
not
believe,
legal for kids.
Jimmy, this only applies to motorized vehicles.
Right.
For electric golf carts, it doesn't, it has to build something over 50 cc.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, some golf carts
Some
are,
golf carts.
I know.
Yeah.
but yeah, there is an age restriction on these too. And then there is, I think it's 14 and above.
You have to be licensed driver.
Yeah. It says that'd be licensed driver.
Well, at 14, you can still get a hardship, that's why I said 14 and above.
All the claims that are in that bill that have changed, the wording and all that is confusing. We're not sure whether I'm not sure whether we're authorized to give that order. So we have a little more. I've asked a question to some, but still haven't got a straight solid answer of whether we're authorized to do that or not authorized to do that, or whether we're trying to make it permissible or restricted or regulate.
You think you got something from another
If you want to table it,
yeah, that's
do
right.
some more research, it's fine with me.
Do you have something from another county that has their order? Jimmy? Do you have something from another county that has that order?
I haven't done it, I didn't look at the county to see what rewards they have on these. I feel free they probably have.
I'm good with putting it on the next agenda.
We can do a research, some more research, and go from there. I just get what, constituent wanted to do, and what it is. And let me do it.
Is there any second to this motion? To the motion to order, make the order. Motion one fails. Like the second. Next motion was the postpone the future agenda.
Next meeting, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rogers? All in favor? Fifteen is review tax abatement application application of Flood Power Holding Company and consider date for public hearing on the reinvestment zone, or whether or not an abatement is to be granted. I think that y'all have that. Virtual packets.
And could you clarify that in the paper, please, that it has not been voted on at the abatement yet?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I propose a public hearing on the 14th. Our first meeting, our first meeting in February. It has to be published before the 7th day before the hearing. Had that application, got it about Christmas Eve, I think. So, there's been some controversy around this facility. It's a hydrogen generation facility that has been moved a little further west, which is satisfied and pleased some property owners, maybe not all. They did that on their own.
Can you express exactly where that's going to be located at now?
It will be, off FM 209 Warren Road. I believe it'll be on some property that, been sold by Bobby Nance. This outfit. And it's near Eden Southern.
What, tax entity does that benefit?
What kind of?
What taxing entities benefit from it moving that far down, or in that area?
Well, it's a Young County anywhere, and then it is technically in the Newcastle ISD.
Anybody else, or just?
Well, it'd be, it's in the Hamilton Hospital District, or
It is.
I didn't see it, but it's on the school district line, so I suppose it is. I think all the Graham General Hospital, or Graham Hospital District overlays the Graham GISD. That's correct,
I think so.
Did Bob ever get back with us on anything that we discussed?
I haven't heard from him since I asked him if he was interested in there. That was nearly the height, I guess you would say, of redistricting. And pretty busy with that. If you wish, I'll make contact with Bob again if you wish to have Bob as counsel on this.
Well, we need to find out, I think when we did our little interview with him in there, the jury room, we left it with him saying we had a lot of questions we had to ask about some stuff. And one of them is how they will be treating this abatement, how this is going to be compared to a solar farm. That's how they do the comparison. And
they had an application for the previous location. I was surprised to get this one modified there, where they had taken it a little further west, out 209. And that acquired a piece of property there. But they'd have less pushback on it, I guess.
I think that'll change anything if I water from the city of Graham.
I don't know. I have no idea. Wouldn't think so. If you look back at
Could I ask a question?
Mr. Donald, would you like to speak?
I'm not clear as to what you said, the reason why it's moving.
Would you like to come up here closer to us?
Okay. I'm not sure you said what was the reason for moving it. West.
Excuse me? come on up here.
Well, okay. John, don't start there. What was the reason it moved west?
From the all pushback, I suspect, I don't really know.
Who made the decision?
They did,
Who?
Plug Power.
Who does it benefit? Who's it discount?
I don't know what you're getting at.
It moved into a different hospital district, right?
It did, or I guess it
It
did.
moved into a different, city district, right?
Well, it's not in a city
Well,
district.
the city,
School district.
well, the different school district, right? Okay.
Yeah, I've got no control of that whatsoever, I suppose.
My understanding there'll be about $350 to $500 million facility there.
They're calling it a $281 investment. $281 million investment.
Yes, sir.
That's what's on
All right,
that's what's on the.
That'd be 2.8, approximately $2.8 million for the taxes each year. Federal taxes. They split it. And none of that be coming to the Graham School District, Graham Hospital.
All I did, Tommy, was just.
Well, I'm not blaming you, I'm just asking, guys, I've heard too many things said this morning where nobody wants to blame it on somebody else, or we didn't know, or we hired somebody and told them to do whatever they want to do. That's what I'm getting at. There's too much of that. Why did they move it?
I tell you, I suspect the pushback that they got from the previous location, the only thing I know of.
Well, I'll tell you this, the school system and the hospital district need that money. Honest, God, Newcastle already getting enough off the wind farms.
We can't direct any of that, none of us can.
You can figure out why it got moved.
We can give a tax abatement or we can't.
You're gonna have dissatisfied neighbors anyway, you know. You're just gonna put a burden on the city, but you're gonna pump the water further. That's all I'm asking, I said, why, because you don't know. Or have not cared enough to ask.
I guess the managers, to answer your question, I suppose the managers of Plug Power are the ones that made that decision and that call. We had an application for
But you're
this.
fixing to do a tax abatement, all right?
Well, we
We
can
vote on one?
we don't know whether we'll get one or not.
All right. My question.
They requested one. Anybody else? They requested a tax abatement on the project. That's a public record. If that, if you wish it. I think that we're required to set a public hearing on that. We have to have a public hearing prior to the establishment of a reinvestment zone, which would go along with it. We can't establish one without the public hearing. I suggest a public hearing on the 14th of February would be about the quickest that we could do that and be correct and proper and within the statutes of notice. It must be before the 7th day before the hearing.
I was under the assumption too that Ward Road was a GISD. It's not.
That far out, it isn't.
It's not. It's gonna be right along the border, isn't it?
It's close.
Yeah.
It's just on the other side of that border.
application came from Plug Power Holding Company, which is involvement, I guess, Apex used, or advisory company of some sort. Why Plug Power moved it, my guess is because of such pushback as they got from landowners. I just received that modified application. Here the request for the tax abatement, which would require a designation of reinvestment zone to go along with it. We have to have a hearing to do that before we grant an abatement. If the abatement is virtually the same application that applied for, they don't do it.
What time, public hearing, what time?
We probably said it the very first thing, 9:30 in the morning on February 14th. Had a bid of 10 o'clock. Better suggest a day or a different time.
We do the same day, we just move it like you said, right till 15, get after his bid open, that way we do it the same time.
Let's set that for 10:30. 10:30 a.m.
Maybe a novel idea, but yes, it does. They do, it's a nice guy, and I'm not against it. Obviously, they wanted to go into that piece of land for them, they voted. And it makes more economic sense, it benefits the city of Graham and the school district more, I mean, school district and the hospital more than moving it out there.
All in favor?
Judge, can I request a 10 or 15-minute break? Use a little restroom. May I request a break? Thank you, sir. It's always me or Stacy, isn't it?
You talking about the Plug Power thing?
No, the questionnaire that you sent.
Oh, you're talking the Thomas thing, yeah. Yeah, you can just email that back to him. Thomas sent that to you.
Saturday, so you can get your mates.
They know how it operates now, so we may get a better bid from them.
How are you?
Lying down.
It is, and it started out like one already.
There's a lot of blowback, but one of the electric line easements, the joint.
Give me a checkbook in about 15 minutes, and I'll get that easement for you. If that's the plan.
Well, I don't know, but I
You
don't
better know
know.
you got to do.
I don't know whether they've already made the decision.
I know that, but they need to be held accountable. There must be too damn much cleaning things happen in this area.
Did you get your W-2s? You
I
weren't
did,
there
thank you.
for-
And that piece of damn secret.
And I actually have somebody working down there today.
Hey,
Behind closed doors out.
One of them's still out, one of them's back.
Chelsea's still out?
Chelsea's back.
Oh, she's back.
Well, there's the line actually about, all, they've got, they said it was a question, I'll tell it back to the city. So I can't make a decision for with the agreement that we have, we were going to get CD Metro, so this would be maybe later on more. That's the hospital, this is a $300 million facility, that's the hospital, $1 million
Yeah.
school.
I've been down
And whenever I found
I was out
out
last
they were
week,
on the
yeah.
hospital, I thought,
showing her some more stuff.
this is where our birds happen.
Posted to the
I
website,
have to go.
so we'll get all that updated.
Really
I'll help her with that. So.
Yeah, I gave them the facts that I really want, they are still around. To instruct you forward, and not what board members come back to us. They're gonna get water. Because everybody was looking into this, the Cadillac deal, they've got electricity, which are really the collection. They're gonna put. I don't have to make a decision. Well, regardless of happiness,
Sure, I think you're right.
so we're the city's position. So the flood water would produce more take their view now.
But don't let them switch your motion and have it.
They could have started back there, and then this is coming up.
Well,
Like that.
right now, we're looking at trying to property.
But John said,
But
it's just.
That's a track down there.
It would be all of that.
The changes is, we tried to give him some options. We got kind of cleaned up.
Yeah, be on there.
I can't tell you how many people have sent me this going, what the fuck? Did you tell them to read the caption with the photo?
Well, when it's folded, it looks like it goes like that. We had a lot of laughs over that.
But. There's no way to say it.
That's what I'm saying.
And you have to put seven back in place. You have to put seven back.
I know, I know, but the whole point was, I wanted to change it as, there's some other things that I think should be done, but to clean it up. We got one creek in the house that's stood up. Okay. He didn't, he said, no, because he just didn't make it happen. If you change the I don't know.
If you don't change this, that's what you got.
Let me ask you this, 'cause I'm right. I mean, so I know every 10 years, you have to do so, I know you may say, oh, do this, it's in stone for 10 years, but is that, can't you change it next year?
What's done is done. You can't change it ever again until 10 years down the road. Well, you run it right, that's good for 10 years. And when you get up to 40, they don't have to build the houses they are started. But that's the thing. If you know the future, this is the time to help change.
No, but you can't, that's not what the legal thing is, it's whatever the census shows at that particular time, that's how you're doing it.
Yeah, but this is also, I'll tell you the same thing, I'll ask you, this is a time that you can adjust it. Because you don't have to go to it 10 years. That sets you up for a lawsuit.
I'm good.
If you got,
I don't disagree with you.
when it comes to voting, and they can control your career.
Yeah, but, I mean, you're still within 10%. That's the thing, that's the issue, you're still, whatever it is right now, you're still well within your 10% threshold. I know there was, I thought there were some good suggestions, but, the biggest problem by leaving the JP line, the way it was, he was out of that district, and he'd already filed. His position, no way to go back.
All you gotta do to him is not, is take him.
I know.
That's simple.
I know.
It's not gonna come up on the other side of the world and come. Just like this.
I thought we did that.
That's what it was. But now, it's way back up here and then took some years away. 166 to be and 40 out of mine.
I know the county, more than three.
What I didn't know was if y'all could get together in violation of the Open Meetings Act.
What you have to do is to do a special call meeting. Send it to her. He has plenty of time to do that.
Well, I don't know, because we just,
He's had that for a long time. It's just like the little book. Is that right?
It happens more often than you realize.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did take it. Okay. He like how threw you out there. Hey Jason, what do you think? I love it. Just trying to take care of you.
Y'all walking, not too busy.
Exactly right. Yeah, we all have to say a lot about it.
You had to have the, always remember.
I'm always looking to punch those things off before we
Oh,
make
yeah,
sure
sure.
it's strong enough.
I poured it on top of the stuff.
Oh, really? And they can sell? Oh, wow.
It was straight. You can sit on the straight a little bit. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I hate to see you have to run.
Positive radio.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Too late. They could try to get the original location cheaper and faster.
Hey, change your address. 315 North Lake.
I guess I should have come out here when we did it. I don't think anybody will be able to.
I need you some minutes, please. Right there, got your pink pen.
You gotta watch it, sir.
Yes.
I said you gotta watch it.
Go over to district
Well, I just
court.
don't wanna get in trouble and take it back. Oh, sorry. Stacy's email, ever coming back? Oh, he hasn't got it yet?
It got put off because somebody got it.
We got half our
Oh, I mean, bless his heart, it's not his fault. I think it is.
Hey, in August, I'm going to Dominican, no, Costa Rica, going to Costa Rica. Right? Do you know what mine is?
I'll get that back.
You went on vacation like that?
Got COVID.
Yeah, well, I don't know what them Costa Rican colors are gonna be like.
Okay, let's come back to order. We'll be the work session record, January the 24th, 2022, 11:05 a.m. We have reached,
Did you lose it again?
probably is. We're all on number 15, I don't know if we, yeah, we've completed that.
We're gonna set the public hearing, right?
Public hearing, we'll have a public hearing. Tax abatement application, Plug Tire Holding Company. And the date will be February 14th, 2022 at 10:30 a.m. Let's pick up item number 17, if it's okay with the court to dispose of that. Is there any, no action taken? We're still under ordinary burn restriction, which I don't recall the date that it will end. Probably about halfway through the restrictions, so it's another 45 days or something. Pray for rain. Okay, item number 16 is discuss and consider proposal or disposition of the Young County Arena property. Wide open, you have something to say. Y'all have anything? Any of y'all like to speak on this issue?
I think we've made ourselves, judge. We spoke in the hearing last week and made our proposal, what we thought was fair and equitable. And I don't know if Jack or Brandon have anything else to add to it, but I think we've made our point.
Well, my feeling is that not necessarily opposed to the prospect, but I believe that county needs some consideration and return of some sort. That's what I think the statute requires. That's what, so you need to read some sort of. We're looking at the underlying properties, what we're looking at. There's not any question about whether or not the city has put lots of funds and lots of expansion and lots of details into the Young County arena that Young County never could have done, obviously. And probably didn't plan to do that. It's still a matter of title, I guess you'd say. Jack?
Nah. This is gonna be my opinion, and I have reached out to people with the livestock barn or the ag, and they've reached out to me. You know, this property, this land was donated by the Barclays to Young County.
Well, not only Barclays.
Well, I'm just saying, anyway, it was donated for the purpose of an agricultural center for Young County. And I think that the city has honestly put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. So we did build it. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. But they have taken it over and done a really good job. But I think this was donated to help Young County. And I don't think we should charge anything for them to take it over. I think it should just be we just do what we need to do. And do the right thing is what I think we need to do. God has laid it on my heart to say we need to do the right thing. And that's what we need to do, is do the right thing.
But I've reached out to, and not one person has told me this is the right thing to do, giving it to the city of Graham. The views that I've been told
Have you
from
talked to
the
the
stock
people
show,
with the stock show folks?
from the stock show folks, they've got a current agreement that they can live with. They're just scared of what's gonna happen if something will change. So they just wanna see continue the organization to run it and give them those dates that are in the contract. And, technically let the county retain ownership under the commissioner's court. So they can probably get a better shake with the commissioner court actually being the owner than the holding company or the city of Graham.
And I think as far as being able to make an arrangement to work, and we're not thinking, and I don't have a problem with the people that are doing it right now in control of it, because I know their heart is in what the youth do, and that's in their best interest as far as the youth goes, where they are, what they've been doing. It's down the road, but we're not here anymore, and they're not here anymore, is the only thing that we have to deal with. And there's not a problem putting a stipulation in there somewhere saying that from this point on, that if they decide to not do it, or if it changes hands, or whatever, that the kids have an obligation, which right now they have more of an obligation than what they have been written down. So, I think that's an easy thing to come to the conclusion of, and easy thing to work out. But the thing is we're gonna have to sit down here and work together. And that's gonna be the important thing, is come to an agreement together on it that we both live with, and everybody gets to benefit from it either way.
And I agree with that. I think if we did do this with the city, and the city says, hey, man, we don't want this no more, we should just get it back at the same price that we're giving it to Bill. You know what I'm saying? We don't want them to give it away to somebody else, you know?
I can't tell, they may sell it in 2 years if it gets expensive on. They may sell it, they do to them benefit.
But I don't think they would do that.
I don't see no reason why they did, but at the same time, you can put also deed restrictions in that deal. If it comes to a point of sale, then we both come together and sit down with each other and talk it over on the sale of it. We divide
Mr.
up
Roger.
what so-and-so gets and what so-and-so gets.
Your comment is in direct contrary to what Judge Bullock said in our previous meeting, is that if it goes back to you, that you're gonna sell it.
Well, we may do that, but we got money tied up in it. I think the county's got more money tied up in it than the city of Grambling.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, I
No,
wouldn't.
sir.
Maybe in the beginning, well.
The initial cost, right. Y'all went in there and nosed down what the county did. It's my understanding that the Penn's rebuilt the back end of it. So, but the livestock board, they
Oh,
got some blood in that too.
I would say to clear that up, we need to see the documents that were discussed, because my understanding of the documents, all the documents I've seen is the county put up $200,000. $600,000 was committed from Southern Bleacher if they can find matching funds for that, and another $100,000 from the Stock Show Association. And so in that public information request we made, the comment of a $900,000 note was brought up. We can get that documentation, I think it would be very important. But I don't think we need to be in a measuring contest about who invested the most. I think this is an asset for this county, always has been. It was given to y'all. My understanding was it was approached into the city to come for an economic development project, to be able to go from a 4A to a 4B, to be able to manage it, because you didn't really feel like you had the expendable funds to manage a facility that more than likely wasn't going to make money. We've dutifully done that for 16 years. It is a little bit, I guess the distrust is what bothers me a little bit, because we continue to manage it, even outside of the old antiquated agreement. We host the stock show, chamber banquet, which is different. 4-H archery tournament, Masonic Lodge auction gets it for free. Finance committee meets out there in the spring. Food truck concert in June. 4-H horsemanship school we host in June. Health fair for the local hospitals. 4-H banquet in August. Swine jackpot in October. Finance committee fish fry in November. 4-H horse club. Monthly activities, both back arena and the Barclay room. And we have always, ever since I've been here, gone out of our way to make sure that our 4-H and FFA youth in Young County have the ability to access that. We would go so far as, within reason, to do a memo of understanding or and I think it would be important that we go ahead and reiterate the fact that we are focused on the youth of Young County. I think it'd be important to have that document approved by the Commissioners Court, approved by the City Council, and approved by the GEIC. GEIC is the one that's been on the limb for this for $3.3 million, basically over a 16, 17-year span. I don't think we have to make this more difficult than it is. It's a direct reflection of who's invested the most in the asset, which at this point, I don't know what math y'all are looking at, but $3.3 million is substantially higher than any other number I've heard.
So Greg, you put more money in it, or the city put more money in it. I don't think that you were here part when that started.
Not at all. I didn't claim that I was, Joe.
Right.
But I know a lot of the history. We visited with Zach Burkett this morning, and Kerwin Stevens. I visited with him. Those two individuals are the ones that helped go out and get the donations. And in lieu of not having an agreement that discusses that $900,000 brought up in executive session, that's the information I'm going on.
I may be wrong on the 900,000 figure, but no, there was other funds that were paid, and then the county did fund Junior Livestock Show Board with other funds to get considerably higher than the $200,000. Now, I may be in error, I can't find documentation of that either so far. But
board members said on the board at the time did say.
Other than a few people that remember it.
Who was that board? That's y'all like this.
Dale Gilmore.
Dale Gilmore. Do they have the document?
No, he don't remember the amount, but he said there was one. He said they did have a
So who paid that loan?
He said the county did.
And who was the loan with?
I believe it was First Bank at the time.
Not sure of that. I've never seen the document myself.
That's his story.
I'd love to quit living in the past as well. I mean, I think we have proven over the years of how we've managed that, especially since I've been here. I mean, guys, don't take me wrong, I was in the old stock show barn, I'm in the new one now. The upgrade we made for $30,000 2 years ago with stock show invested half of it, and the community foundation here in Graham paid for the other half, finally kind of established a true area to house small animals when you're talking about, you know, hogs or the biggest thing, and the panels that were just continually getting tore up. And so I think the improvements we've made are directly geared towards the events that we host, which are mostly youth related, as well as the stock show.
What is the problem, Brandon, with the agreement that has been working for the last 20 years or 10?
Well, half of the dates that are questioned are no longer happening. It's an old antiquated agreement. And then the biggest thing is just the ownership of it. I mean, I think the GEIC has invested so substantially, I mean, that true ownership should be shown by the city. And technically, your ownership is of the land only, correct?
That's true.
So, I mean, think about how that convolutes things. I know the original structure was built with donated funds. The back building was paid for with issued bonds that the city paid off, 1.1 million, and the overage on an annual basis has been paid by the GEIC through city funds. And those totals equate to that 3.3, which I've given and documented to you, which isn't even really a true figure because we weren't directly reflecting that other salary that's in there. So technically, about 8 years, you can add 60,000 a year to that. But I just don't think we should be in such a measuring contest over who invested what or moving forward. It just needs to be reflected by the proper entity with the assets. And we'll continue to manage it just like we have going back. And I would, you know, the old agreement is old. They don't even have a Halloween festival out there anymore.
I believe it states in the local government code that we can make exchanges.
There is no development.
Or transfer properties with them. I believe it says an equitable.
For economic development reasons, intergovernmental agencies can transfer land for economic development reasons. And that's why we originally invested in
I
this.
don't believe it says that in that code, Brandon. I believe it states that with an
Be happy.
equitable
I'll
exchange,
be happy to
whether
find
it be
it.
in kind
Yes,
or
sir.
whether it be cash benefit or anything else.
Sure. We'd be happy to share half the debt with you. Halloween carnival doesn't go on anymore. It's a few of the dates are antiquated, but we still continue to abide by those.
I still don't see why we can't just come to an agreement between the two of us. They're the ones running it and doing a fine job doing it. The same people that help keep it going are gonna be the same people that's doing it. I'm talking tax-wise. Because the same people pay taxes in the city pay it in the county. And it's all under one umbrella. And all of them get the benefit out of it. And I think we ought to let them just take the ball and run with it and go from there. We sit down here and we come up with an agreement we all can live with between the deals that we have concerns over, and let them take it and run with it. We've already said we don't want it back. And we need to give it to them in the same term that it was given to us.
Like I said, I talked to Mr. Golf, and he was, you know, with us giving it to the city, he, you know, even if we, I don't wanna give it to you, I wanna charge you $50, because y'all never paid your $50, first of all.
Okay, Mike.
So $50.
She hadn't billed us for this.
Building for the last 16 years, $50 a year.
Somebody make a motion?
I make a motion that we return that over to the city or the GIC or whatever it's gonna be named under, with the agreement that we can sit down together with a memorandum that we can both agree to and go from there. Let them take the ball and run with it. Let them expand it.
We've got one essentially like that. Jimmy, right there, Brandon's holding in his hand. He said it's antiquated. They made some antiquated things on there, but it's a 99-year lease. Is what it is.
It is a
I'm
99-year
sure there's
lease,
probably
John.
70-something years left on it.
It is. But what we're doing also too is, in this situation is, we're fixing it to where maybe somebody on this court comes and tries to pull something out from under them that they've got all the money invested at the same time too. If we can clear it up now, and that's the thing about what we need to do as a court, don't look down the road past your nose, just look down the road, way down the road. If we get an agreement that we can all work together with, that's what it needs to be.
And they're gonna do with it more than what we could ever do with it.
Exactly. They've already proven
And
it.
they've already proven it.
It ain't a question of whether they're not or they ain't going to.
They got a track record.
That's why the timing is what it is. Bond is paid off, it's debt-free at this point. We don't feel comfortable investing any more into it. And I'm not saying we, I mean, I think that, you know, go find me if you'd like. This is a GEIC conversation. This is the same economic development corporation here locally that's charged with bringing new economy to town. And over, you know, on an average, 40% of their funds they take in annually go towards that arena. Brings people to town. It's great. You know, we see those values. We don't have them all recognized. I think, you know, in a perfect world, you'd be able to say exactly what that arena does for this community, but I don't think any of us can argue that it does nothing but good things, brings people to town. And we want to continue to do that. It's an old, aging facility. Again, attached to the request we sent is a list of $500 million worth of projects that we want to do, $500,000 to $1 million worth of projects. And I just, where would be the harm in so that we could feel more comfortable with our investment, our city tax dollar investment, where would be the harm in transferring it to these?
And it's a county investment too. I mean, we make stuff off of it too. We can go to Walmart, go eat. You know, we make money off of it too.
I was there before all those things were there.
Yep. I think it's a win-win situation.
My motion still stands, the agreement, we sit down and work together.
The item is discuss or consider a proposal or disposition. So, what's the style of your motion? Are you got one you say on the table? What is it?
That we turn the land over to the GIC or the city, whichever one it is.
It'd be the city.
The city,
City of Graham.
with the agreement, and we sit down there and set the deal, the memorandum between the kids, and if it ever comes up to sale, we can do that.
Right. When you say turn over, what do you mean turn over? It's already been turned over.
I think what he's saying is deed the property over
Deed the property.
Deed the property.
from the county to the city. A minimum of understanding that would basically paraphrase our lease agreement into a letter of understanding, a memo of understanding that at this time, in 2022, the GEIC, the city of Graham, and the Commissioners Court agreed upon this and moving forward want to continue to manage it in the same manner that it has, with the benefit of the youth of Young County being paramount. And then we can feel more comfortable investing more in there, and it'll just get better from there.
We have a motion from Judy Wiley to, I'm going to use this paraphrase, and that would be to deed to the city, the property of Young County Arena.
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion in regard to that?
We're just gonna give it to them and nothing for consideration.
Excuse me?
We're just gonna give it to them with nothing for consideration.
All in favor of the motion? Matt?
Aye.
Opposed? Stacy, I'm opposed. So, the motion carries 3-2. Who's gonna draw up the instruments?
I'll be happy to make an effort at that, submit it for y'all to review.
Okay. Our other business is to adjourn.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Minutes here, she has a place for y'all to sign that you attested to the minutes. This meeting, y'all do that every time, to the meeting. Let's have y'all sign that too.
There you
Oh, wait.
You say charge my phone.
Yeah, that's what
You said charge my phone.
No, we do it for the open, the last meeting.
Right, you already did.
We already did that last meeting.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
sorry,
bad.
I'm a little loud.
It's my
They're making
camera.
Making all of it except the three districts. Put your back over on speaker.
We're fixing to talk about redistricting.
Yep.
Let's draw in here, 911 coordinator and elections administrator. Let them be in on this meeting.
Yep. Let me put the right button. Okay.
All right, good morning again.
Good morning. Somebody's going after our elections administrator and our addressing coordinator.
Okay.
This needs to be underway. Talking back and forth, given our council, Allison Bass and me, the authority to adjust lines is necessary to accommodate the requirements of redistricting, where they weren't substantially altered, like those minor changes. These are pretty minor. Didn't change it didn't change JP line, and they don't have to follow, JP does not have to follow the one man, one vote rule. As I think John has explained to me, and I think y'all too, that they're not representative officers, judicial officers.
They're not subject to that requirement.
Yes.
You balance.
So these lines were moved and adjusted to the least possible way underway, a movement to comply with the rules of, federal rules of redistricting and the range.
Right, well, I mean, first of all, judges, I take full responsibility for not being as familiar as I should have with your JP lines when we were doing the election precinct, you know, kind of making the election precincts, you know, we do kind of a two-step process. We do the commissioner precinct changes, make those balance, and then we look at your election precincts, and we were looking at those, you know, Lauren pointed out that there weren't a whole lot of people in 6 and 7, and that could probably be consolidated. And we thought, you know, that might save some money and front and balance, et cetera. So we went ahead and consolidated that, and then y'all voted on that. And the JP map that I provided, I don't know if you have it there, Judge, but it just really it wasn't right. And so, and then, you know, we also had the other issue with the office holder, you know, being displaced from his precinct. So, and then that's when we got to talking with your election folks, and we realized that your old JP line would be splitting the new consolidated election precinct, which would not work. You know, you would have people in one election precinct, and they wouldn't be able to vote for either JP office. You know, so that wouldn't have worked. So I figured, you know, that you guys would want it to stay the way the JP line to stay the way it was. So that's why I've proposed this proposed order with the proposed map, you know, reinstating that election precinct and keeping your JP line as it has been in the past, other than the little change up around Monument Road that we felt was really not deliberate. I didn't feel like the court deliberately, you know, displaced an elected official.
Well, what it is there was some corrections that had to be made to meet the requirements of the law. And we authorized, I think we authorized Allison Baskin McGee in the previous order to make some of those changes.
That's correct.
In the discussion, these lines were moved as little as was absolutely possible to accomplish the task. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The way that we had, the way that your first order went, I mean, we had violated the election code by intersecting this newly consolidated election precinct with the JP border, and you just can't do that. So we had to reinstate the old election precinct and then do a new map for the JPs as well.
But recalling that in the first instance, back when Lauren requested that, I really wasn't in favor, and probably argued a little bit about changing any voter precinct.
Yes,
Just
you
leave
were
it
reluctant
like they
about
were.
that.
But to accommodate and speed things up, I agree with that. I didn't realize it would conflict with the JP precinct either. You know, so, you know, there human errors made in that original mapping that had to be adjusted. Adjusted as low as it was possible.
Right, and it's my mistake for not catching the discrepancy between the JP line and the consolidated election precinct. And I take responsibility also for not noticing the elected officials' addresses. We
to the commissioner's precinct, of which had to be altered originally because we were out of balance with the absolute deviation. What's the absolute deviation as it is right now?
You're like 5.5, let me see, last map I sent you, Judge. You're at 3.36 plus 2.4, so you're at 5.66.
Okay, so that's well within the range of deviation, is that correct?
Yes, you're well under the 10. Yes, sir.
So we've got some that's, two that's relatively close to the ideal number.
Right. Precinct 1 and Precinct 4 are very close. Precinct 4 is right at 0% deviation from an ideal size, and Precinct 1 is at just 1 percentage point above. So, you know, that change didn't make a whole lot of difference because it wasn't in the, it actually didn't make any difference in your overall deviation because your biggest disparity is in 3 and 2. So moving those, I think it was about 40 people in the, according to the census blocks, maybe 35. It didn't make any difference in the constitutionality of the plan.
Okay, so it's a good plan, it's a good, pretty straight line plan in the maps that I see in there now, so, you know, I don't know what the pushback here is exactly, but it's been, we've given you the authority, or Allison Bass McGee, the authority to make some of those little changes as that would be in that previous order and in this order that we're looking at, considering today. So, you know, that's, we need to get this stuff going, get moving forward. We've got to get cards out. And then
Yes, right. Yes, sir.
postpone and postpone and postpone. And we need to get them going. So if we make the requirements, well within the requirements of all matters of the law, it appears on this as it is right now, so.
Yes, I mean, I would recommend these changes, either that or you would need to realign your JP, redesign your JP order.
Well, you know, if you want to try to match up and make the population even, you're gonna have to come back way down into Graham Lake area and maybe even into the city to acquire enough population to balance that, population. And the point being is they haven't been in balance for the last 30, 40 years, ever since that line's been there, and that line's been there as long as I can remember. We're at a population level as the census is, that we can eliminate, we don't have to have more than one JP in the county, but I think that's very impractical not to have the two. So, you know, I think the court's authorized to combine the JP precincts. I don't think that's wise.
John, up there on JP1 where he lives, is there a way to go around him without taking all those other census blocks in?
No, sir, because we can't split the census blocks, so, I mean, we looked real close closely at how, you know, how the most minimal way to do it. And he lives up around Misty Lane, and he lived in a really big census block that stretched all the way to Monument Road. So we had to move that census block, so that took us all the way up to Monument. And over to the east there a little bit as well. And then it looked very, very gerrymandered, so there was a little block there, to the west that we had to add to, just to make it kind of follow Rooters Mountain and then Monument Road, and then drop down to Turtle Hole Road. Was the way that I recommend now that you do it. Like I
What's the
said,
population in that?
Sorry?
What's the population in that, those two little blocks?
34, 40
I think it was mid-40s.
Is that two voting blocks or just one straight in that line out?
It was 3 census blocks we had to change.
Blocks 42 voters.
4 census blocks.
If you take in the little box where it calls it.
Yeah, it may have been 4, so it was zigzaggy.
So you'd have to take all 4 of those voting blocks in to make one?
Well, just to make the line straight, just to get Misty Lane in, this guy's address, it took you all the way up to Monument. So unless you wanted your line to like zigzag down to Cox Mountain and then back up to Monument and then back down to, I think it was all the way to Keep Clearly Road, zigzag all the way back down and then back up to Turtle Hole. I mean, it just looked strange.
Did any of those census blocks have 0 in them?
I'm sorry?
Did any of those census blocks have 0 in them?
Oh, I wish I'd have had them shown up on this map.
No, Judge.
I don't recall.
Any of them have 1 or 2?
I mean, they were very low.
4 is the littlest one.
Yes.
Then it's 9, 9, and 20.
Do you
The
see
big
ways
one was the
to
one that was the
Mhm.
commissioner was in, or the JP was in, the Misty Lane one, that oddly shaped one that goes all the way up to Monument.
Yeah, no, that's why I think this is easier for me,
Yes.
because it has the name on it. So Jason was right here.
We got a copy of the census block.
And this one does.
So,
Okay. Okay, we'll put you on, I'm gonna put you on the spot now.
Okay.
What do y'all think about this?
About changing it to where it just goes around Misty Lane or keeping it the same?
Yeah.
I said, it's up to y'all, I mean, I don't care where the lines are, I just wanna make sure. The
Yeah,
guy
as long as
that's already filed for the office.
This lane's off the pier.
Well, it's easy.
Right.
Well, what,
It
that's,
could go off either one for me, I mean, as long as it's in the right jurisdictions and all that, and I can get my ballots printed,
So the one where we go around his house
just around his house.
would work.
It could, as long as,
that's what it looks like, I don't,
Yeah, it's
we're
what it
not
looks
the,
like.
we're not the experts on it. That's
well,
what
why
it
can't you
looks
just run it up Monument Road? And then he loses 150 because you stop right there. But then you run it out in 380 and then take that little slice out, and then you combine 6 and 7 still. They're still the same thing. And then you gain the 150 back. So you're back to 0 basically. Am I right?
That's what we're talking about.
Other than personal preference, what's wrong with this plan? What's wrong with this?
Well, I was just thinking cleaner lines.
We still got a house we need to undivide.
We
got-
have
we got a
decided
road
to,
That's half of it, it's still half.
with that one, we have decided to make it go all the way to the bridge on Indian Mound. And that makes that house come into precinct 3 or JP 3.
Okay. So it's undivided.
Yes, but we have to go to the bridge on Indian Mound.
We're
That way we don't go into a census block.
sitting here nitpicking things now. We've got a plan there that's within the balance. a decent looking plan that the lines aren't too screwball, and I would like to just take the county and do like that, but we can't do that under federal law. But, so there, those are as clean a lines as we're going to be able to get with, and in the, well, in the proper range of deviation between lowest and highest. And with the minimum amount of change in the lines that can be. So we're just getting into
Has the JP
you know,
line
what
been
kind of
changed at all?
contest
Is the JP line
manipulate
changed
these
at all?
lines, just exactly like,
It would just
I mean, has it been changed any at all with this new change? JP line?
yes,
Yeah. How much is it going to change?
as far as voters,
No, I mean, how
Just-
much did it move down?
it moved down from, you went from Red Top Cemetery Road down to Turtle.
So we have changed the movements of the JP line from where it previously was.
Well, and I understand now why you're saying 6 and 7 has to be, it can't be combined now
Exactly.
because it splits the JP.
Exactly.
Right.
So we're just gonna keep 6 and 7, it's just, we're just gonna have to keep 6 and 7, it's just it.
But unless you do the
Unless you
JP
just
across
follow
there,
this.
like we talked about.
Right.
You just combine.
If you went down 380,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
We're just arguing about Michigan Lane over here, Michigan Law now. Right,
yeah, there's, I
that's
mean,
what we're arguing about now.
it's an insignificant argument.
Well, I think that we're talking about the combination of 6 and 7 is making it one.
Yeah, 6 and
And
7.
then that-
6 and
that-
7
that's-
has both of us in it.
No,
That's the definition.
no, it won't be. When they vote,
6 and 7, Law 6 and 7?
when they vote for JP, it'll be a different vote.
You got
Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're
Because-
leaving it the same.
No, it's
You
split.
could- No, you split it, you couldn't split the precinct. The precinct would have been precinct 6.
Right.
And wherever that JP line was, wherever it's been forever and ever, split the precinct. You
Right.
can't do that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you had to move the line to accommodate the precincts, or go back to the same precinct, which the easiest and simplest thing was to do.
Just stay 6 and 7.
I wasn't with one part anyway, I just voted with you because for the expediency of getting the plan done. It wasn't a legal plan as it worked out. So go back to the voting precincts, I mean, it doesn't make any difference, really. They're still the same people, they're just voting in different voting precincts, and we're countywide voting, and it doesn't matter. You go vote in one place, and
Well,
Right.
Mr. Judge, that doesn't matter, but
It
if
doesn't
you're
matter
in
if you're
voting
in that
box
precinct.
5 and you're,
It doesn't matter if you're
Just
getting votes from the whole county,
is
but when you're
precinct
divided,
one.
it does
It
matter.
does
you'll
matter.
vote for precinct 1, and then 7 is precinct 3. That's the way it used to be.
That's the way it's gonna be, that's the way it'll be.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
so that's the only,
that's the way it is, that's the way it is here.
okay, okay, I understand.
So what we did though is we've done away with 7, we combined 6 and 7 to 6. So now, you can't do that with the JP line because you can't have a
No,
6
that's what
because
I'm
it's
saying.
split. Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
need to do that, no.
It's quite a trivial, insignificant argument that we're having.
Well, it sounds like everybody agrees about the election precinct part of it, right?
Yeah.
It's just this area up on Misty Lane that we need to try to see what y'all wanna do. I mean, it looks like, I'm looking, it looks like I changed a 9-person census block, a 20-person census block, a 4, and a 9, so that's 42, all right?
Yes.
And so I don't know if y'all have any of those maps, but the big one is the 20, and that's the one that the JP is in, and it's very funny shaped, and if you do 20, you have to do the little 4 below it, or else it makes an island out of the little 4 block. And then
So just go
also
straight down
20
Monument.
almost cuts off that 9 there next to it. And so I just thought, do all those census blocks and make it look
I don't know what the argument's about, really.
like I said, it made you actually, I think it made you closer to those two precincts being balanced. I mean, so they weren't far off to begin with, but, so I didn't really think it was a material change. I mean, I know it's important, you guys know who lives there, and they may vote for one or the other. I know it's important, but I thought that the main consideration was to not uproot the elected official there. But maybe it's not, I don't know. It's up to you guys on that.
What do you think, Jason?
How many voters would it be?
You lost 150.
You lost 150.
150?
I lost 42.
43.
An actual voter, that census can't determine how many voters.
Who said there was, 42
42, yes, in that little box, in that area.
in that whole area? There,
You still got Darrell Lake, right?
What?
You still got Darrell and Debbie, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm fine.
They might not vote for you.
Okay, number one coordinator. What do you think would need to be done to finish cleaning up this, or would be easier for you? Or you either one to make it to where it's easy to work with?
Following roadways instead of census blocks would help. Because I'm having to go by block numbers for her voter cards to be able to tell who's in which block. And then if you're following a census block, that changes it per block number. So every 100, I'm having to change it. So yes, going by a block or following roads, I can go, all of the even numbers are this precinct, all of this one. All the odd numbers are this precinct.
Which makes it easier.
Yes.
Did you get that, Ms. Reddington?
Well, that's the way you got it squared off right here.
But not around the lake area, Indian Mound, things like that. It doesn't.
Take one issue at a time.
That's the,
Well, I understand that it's very difficult, the job that she's got to do, and she's under tremendous time constraints to get it done now. But I think this change here over on Misty, I think should make it should be pretty straight in terms of the roads and the address block numbers. I mean, the fact of the matter is we can't just arbitrarily draw the lines. We've got to make them follow the census blocks.
I don't have it on that one. I have it.
Which typically follow roads and geographical
That's why I would.
things.
I can't see it.
Yes, this one will follow a census block. These over here do not follow a census block. Or this one follows a census block, because that's a census block. This is a census block. And this is a census block. That's what I'm saying. Follow the creek right here, follow the roadway, and then it's wanting to follow the census block right here, where it was to follow the roadway.
Yes. Which is good, the census block.
It's one person right here, actually. I don't understand what it says, but I'm saying that's one person. That's why I said, and it splits the house at that. And by the law that we found, it has to decide where the master bedroom is. So instead, we just said, you have to follow the creek, it would give it to you anyways, give that one person to you. This would be 3 voters in that one.
John, everybody's on the map that they.
Okay, well, for some reason, it's not, the street is not showing up on my map, but do you know what road is that? That's now where it stair steps down from Monument, stair steps south.
Yeah.
What is that road? Is that a
I
road?
don't understand why.
And then
That's
You just
16,
don't
right?
go this way.
Yeah, okay, that's Highway 16.
Yeah.
Would that be?
Okay, so I mean, it looks like this
It
change,
is.
you're still following
And
roads. I
then
mean,
if we follow
it's,
Buffalo Loop.
Yes.
and
roads
go
make
down,
up
You
the
take it
border.
back and you
Yes.
still right back up.
Yes.
And
Someone's calling us.
it's, it's getting to where
I'm
it's
still
easier
here.
for you to get the
I
line.
think somebody's calling.
Yes.
Or-
No, don't disagree with maybe this 6 and 7.
I don't know if they're fussing about.
All I was saying was if you're gonna take 250 voters.
Commissioners with their, yeah.
Then why not add it back?
Commissioner.
That's what I was
Even
saying.
if you went to follow this line and went down here, JP3 still gets more voters.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm
And
glad
it's
to
just-
be here.
And if you follow this out of Newcastle too, you still got the voting blocks like you want.
Yes.
It's a straight freaking line.
Well, it's mine, and like this one, that's, you're splitting like people's properties.
Yeah.
Where they have to pay, you know, depending on what it is.
And can you draw that up? Where you think it already? And then get this one?
I could, but it wouldn't make it right where this was, yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, we can go into recess, let you do that. Send it to me right now. This is your work. Okay. We're gonna do it today, but we got all day to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Tell everybody not to die out there. Right? Yeah, drag them over to the other side of the road. And if they die in that master bedroom,
Yeah.
you're all right. But if they die outside the master bedroom, call Stan.
Yeah. What if you die halfway in, halfway out?
Oh, yeah, that's true. What if you're in the doorway?
I just wanted, I wanted to be.
There you go.
Well, I guess that'd be the, let's do that.
That's one, yeah, that's one vote in the middle there. That's why I said, and then right here, there's a voting block. And I
Don't call
understand
me.
that it's a zero population, but in a city where if somebody goes and kind of look at this map.
How are you?
That's what I want.
I don't know, I mean,
Exactly, it is.
I do either accept it or take it.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we recess? Let these two girls work on the scenario that they're working on right now. Send it to John and see if it's workable. And we come back and mark them there.
What is
What kind of scenarios are we talking about?
What's got you bothered about?
Nothing's got me bothered about it other than the fact that there's no strip. Like, it doesn't follow the roadway like I was saying. Just to clean up the lines would be nice. It makes it to where the maps are easier for anybody in the county to be able to read, including your law enforcement. He has to have reports that go, this is JP3's precinct, this is my precinct.
Well, yeah, I think everybody agrees about the, election precinct has to go back the way it was to keep the
6 and 7,
JP
that's
line
not
the
just,
same.
I was just saying that if we're
Right.
taking 150, based off the census, those voters, or those blocks away, why can't we add 7
Away
into,
from what and
we're taking it away from JP1?
who? Well,
And I understand you said that that doesn't matter. Okay,
But
that's
it
fine.
does when you don't get votes from the whole
Exactly.
county.
you're not a representative. Justices of the peace are not representatives of the public, they're judicial officers. They're not under the rule of equalization.
Right, they don't, I guess to clarify that they're not subject to the constitutional redistricting, equal balance type rules.
Right.
I mean, sometimes there's reasons you may want it to be somewhat balanced.
That's what I was-
population.
Yeah. Cause you got some that do vote, some that don't vote.
I mean, all your population is down in Graham pretty much, isn't it? Or, I mean,
Well, it's the southeastern, it's mostly the southeastern quadrant of the county.
so, I mean, if you want that line to go up and follow, what is that, 80 up there? Like with the commissioner boundary, that's gonna give JP one a whole lot more people, right?
Now, you're talking about 114, I guess.
380, I'm sorry, 380. like it is for your commissioners over there. You're gonna be giving one even more people.
That's not true.
That's,
That's not true, because if you go straight down Monument, and then you do 380, then one takes away, one gives back.
He's talking about west of Lee
I know what you're talking about, 380 south, or west. Yeah.
and I don't mean more people, I really mean just more territory of like, you know, where, I don't
Right.
know, patrols, I mean, they're gonna get more tickets in one
And,
than,
and I'll tell you what, I was a deputy before, it's not hard to figure out who you're gonna ride into. It's easy. It's not that difficult.
well, that, I mean, that's the only complaint I get, you know. We don't wanna have to redo all our tickets and all this.
They'll be all right.
John, if there's any lines we want to clean up, this be the time to do it, right?
We gotta do it like today, guys, I
Okay.
mean, it's,
And we're gonna,
I feel horrible, we've put your election folks in a bad spot here.
That's what they're saying.
we're gonna recess, John, for a little bit,
Well,
and
we're gonna have 3 votes if we recess.
that's exactly right, John.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Quit being so defensive.
I'm not
I'm
being
here talking.
defensive.
Yes, you are.
Quit trying to run the rules.
I'm not trying to
Quit
run the
Run
rules.
the court.
I'm not
You're
trying to
just
run
trying to make it all your way.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
You just showed me.
If there's anything in this deal now, John, you're the one that's being the dictator in this deal.
I'm trying to be reasonable and get this thing done, and it needs to be done.
Yes, I
And this is
understand.
about as clean as you're gonna get it done.
Doesn't matter. We're gonna take a vote about recessing.
Okay, you got a motion, recess?
I got a motion to recess, yes.
Okay, is there a second?
It's noon, I'm good with the second right now.
Okay,
Let people calm down.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm ready to move on. It's a good plan, it's slick, it's clean, it's just not what somebody wants.
It ain't about somebody, John. We've got 2 other people over here right now that has to deal with that stuff. And we're gonna clean it up. This is the time to clean it up. Not 10 years down the road. Clean it up.
I asked Carly what the problem was, she said, it's easier with roads than this, it's blocked. I don't know, I'm not sure just exactly what you're talking about there, but it mostly follows roads.
This does follow roads, this little change up on Monument, and it's totally roads.
Not based off of this, just for under here. It can follow, and pick up, have it cleaned up and break it right here, instead of doing Briar Creek across the.
You good with John?
Go further down, somebody let me know.
I can't see what you mean.
Yeah, if she calls, it'll probably help. You're good, Arlen, you're good. Let's everybody calm down.
Okay, all in favor of recessing?
Aye.
The 3 votes there?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll recess.
Or
I'll call you back, or somebody will call you
1:30
back.
again. 1:30, I'm sure. That's what time we usually do it.
1:30?
recess till 1:30, is that right, Mr. Wiley?
Yes.
You'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think they're, I agree on just getting a little,
What are you?
tweaks, getting some little tweaks.
Okay, I bet they just did.
Uh-oh, let's see.
I've got a meeting, appointment 1:45, so I probably won't be here for the rest. I think we've got the major part of it.
Just everybody saying.
Are you blinking? Your phone's blinking, I don't know if you need to know that or not.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle.
Kyle. Said everybody.
Hey, Kyle.
Tell her what you want.
That's where we get the deal for the only tonight?
What?
That's the deal for the only?
Yes.
You know it?
Yeah.
You did good.
So coming back at 1:30,
Yes, ma'am.
and I will be in here.
Does it have a fuse? We haven't used it before, but, you know, I don't know.
The council had some meetings in there the other day. They had a system, or they had a system.
On that ambulance thing, who seconded that?